In today's video, we're going to learn how to color grade in CapCut PC like a pro. This will be an ongoing series and the second part will be out very soon. But if you can't wait and would love to see the rest of the series right away, you can find a full video on my school community where I've also uploaded a complete CapCut PC course. Alright guys, let's get started. So first of all, let's just walk through the tools that comes with CapCut when it comes to color grading. So you guys will understand how the things works and all that. Let me show you guys. So I'm just going to bring this video in. I'll be providing you guys with all these materials just to practice along. So that's selected. Now, first of all, when you click on this side, it's going to show you color oscilloscope. Basically, I just call it scopes, where you can see all the scopes. When you jump into this interface, it's going to be hidden. Then all you have to do is when you reach your color grading stage, you just click on it and it's going to show down here. I do color grading as the last thing when it comes to video editing. So I'm going to walk you guys through this. This is RGB Parade. As you can see, this is the red, green, and blue channel of this very image. So right now we are on one frame, which is showing one image, and this is representing the colors. And the colors are always based on three channels, right? That's the red, green, and blue. When they come together, they form a white color. Now let me just move around here and look carefully at these waves. You can see it's moving, right? So this represents exactly this very image. So this is this side, this is me in the middle, and then this side. So this represents exactly what you see in the video or in the image. And this is the overlay waveform of this RGB. That's the red, green, and blue. And this time around, it's grouped together in a waveform, forming this very image. So when I move, you can see exactly what it does. It represents this very image. So we mostly use this waveform to do the white balance, to color correct, and also do the color balance. We'll be talking more about that later on. It's very handy with this waveform. It's going to guide you. That's why when you reach color grading, always turn the scopes on. It's going to guide you to know exactly how the things are, because most of the time our eyes can deceive us. You might think you are seeing clearly, but then the waves will be showing you different things. So the waves always guide us to know exactly what's happening to our image or in our image. And now the next thing is the vectors. When you look at it, I wonder if you can see clearly, right? These vectors represent the color wheels, right? So when you look at it, this is red and this is magenta, this is blue, cyan, green, and also yellow. When I go to the color wheels, the color wheels, right? It's going to have the same colors. When you look at it, this is our red, this is our magenta, blue, cyan, green is sitting here, yellow is somewhere here, and then orange. And what this means is when you look carefully, right, you can see I'm wearing a red jacket or a red shirt. You can see how the red color is really popping through. So this represents when it's towards the center, it means the color is really desaturated. When it's towards this very box that you have, it means it's really saturated. And when you look, the color is really strong. The red color over here is really strong. That's why you can see it popping towards the red color compared to any other color in this very side. Also, when you look at the line on this side, I wonder if you can see it clearly. And also when you're following along, just turn yours on so you can see or understand whatever I'm talking about. There's a line sitting right here. That's where the skin tones needs to be. All the time during your color correction stage, your skin tone needs to be closer to this very line. That's where it makes your skin tone looks natural, and it's going to make your colors also look natural. So this line always helps us to know exactly where our skin tone is. Remember, I'm going to talk more about that. Color correction is different from color grading, but they all form under color grading. Don't get confused. I want to explain more to you guys. So this just guides us during the color correction stage to place our skin next to it. And as you remember, when the color is really towards this very box, that means the color is really dominating in that very image. As you can see, the red is dominating in this very image. So now I hope you understand what these tools are, right? We're going to go to this side very soon. So now when you look at the top, let me explain this side too. When you look at the top, we have 1023. That's where our highlights gonna hit. And then we have 0. That's where our darks and our shadows gonna hit. So mostly the rule about this is you don't want to be hitting this very line at the top. That's your highlights tone. When you hit, it means your image is clipping and you don't want it to be too bright. And you don't want your images to be so dark slitting on this side. So this represents the highlights and this represents the darks and the shadows. And right in the middle, that's where the mid-tones are. One thing about the skin tones, always it's going to be somewhere above this very line. That's the mid-tones when it comes to our skin. Now let me move to this side to show you. Let me go to basic and show you with this one. So when it comes to CapCut, the colors are going to be under adjustment. Also, when you go here, we're going to talk about that also later. When you go to the left side and you click on adjustment, it's the same showing on this side. There's just an adjustment layer that you can drag and drop on an image and use that. It's going to represent exactly what we saw earlier. So let me just delete this and let's click on the video itself so we can see these very adjustments. When you do the correction on this side, when you click on the video and you do the corrections, it's going to be on that very image. So that means it's going to be part of that very video compared to when you have the adjustment layer on top. So let's just say I do a correction on this, right? It's not going to be, let me just show you a quick one. I just bump up the saturation, right? It's going to be on this very adjustment layer, not the video itself. Let me disable it and show you. You can see it's not affecting the video itself. And this comes in handy from time to time, and we'll be talking about that soon in this very part or this very module. Let me delete that. Before we continue, real quick, I just finished a full CapCut PC course over on school.com. I cover everything from motion graphics, keyframe curve mastery, animations, creative ideation, my full editing workflow, and even provide project timeline files so you can practice hands-on. But that's just the beginning. We also have weekly live editing sessions plus Q&A where I break down edits submitted by members and answer questions in real time. And the best part is you'll be joining a community of editors who are all working to get better with CapCut PC, just like you. If you'd like to learn more, you can check the link in the description. All right, guys, let's go back to it. Now let's talk about this. Auto adjust provided by CapCut. It's trying to, when you click, let me show you what it's trying to do. It's trying to correct your colors, not really correct it, but it's just fixing your exposure and also your contrast level and also your saturation, which it's always going to do terrible jobs. I don't use it at all. I always turn it off. I don't really use that at all. Now, the color match also provided by CapCut, and they are all pro, right? It comes with a pro version. The color match, let me click on that and show you. It's basically trying to help us to match our colors to, let's say if you've seen a movie scene and you're really interested in how the colors look, this tool is there just to help you to have the same look or to have closer look to it, which most of the time doesn't work at all. So I don't even use it, but I'm going to show you guys what it is since I want to explain all the tools that comes with CapCut when it comes to color grading. So with this, you can select right from your timeline, or you can go to local and bring it from your folder or your finder. Let me just click and show you guys. So when I go to my downloads, there's a movie scene that we have an image of. Then I can click on open. Then from here, what I can do is just click on OK and see what it does. You can see it's trying to get the look of this very image. Then with the intensity, you can dial down and dial up and see how it looks like. Let me show you. I have the image right here so I can do that and show you guys. So this is the image that we're trying to color match, right? When you look, you can see it is really off. Of course, the day and also how the set design and everything looks completely different. So you're not going to have exactly the same. So that's why I think, in my opinion, if you want to match the color of this, you need to try at least to have a wardrobe or the location or even the set design and everything closer to whatever look you're going for. So I'm going to turn it off and delete this. Let's click on this. Then right after that, we have the color correction. That's one good tool that comes with CapCut. Let me click on this and see what it does. What this normally does is you can see when I turn it on, it looks terrible, right? Good, because it's not meant for this kind of videos or image. This color correction is meant for log footage. Let me explain to you guys. So log footage basically is, let me show you an example in my timeline, right? This is a log footage. You can see the colors, how it looks like. Let me turn it here. You can see it looks very flat, right? That's log footage. Log footage, mostly when you shoot log footage, it doesn't come with the colors like, okay, let me put it this way. When you shoot in log footage, you are able to capture more dynamic range, right? When it comes to log footage, but then the colors are really off when you look at it. So this color correction is meant for that. It's trying to help you get the conversion lot, which we'll be talking more about. When you use it on a Rec 709, this is a Rec 709 file. We'll be talking more about that. When you use it on that, you're not going to have good from, like, let's say you're not going to have a good result from that. You can see exactly what it's doing. It's clipping even the whites and the saturation and everything. It's totally not made for that. Now let me drop it on a log profile and show you guys. So this is a log profile. I'm clicking on it now. When I go to color correction, you can see what it's doing. It's doing pretty good job with it. And I'm really surprised how good this color correction is. So we're going to talk more about that. Just want to show you guys what it's used for. Then on the intensity, if it's too strong, you can dial it down. But mostly you will want to go somewhere closer to 100. So it's going to really help you with the exposure and the contrast level. So when you look at it, it's stretching the image. Let me turn it off and show you. So this is how log profile image are. Let me go here and show you guys. Turn color correction off. When you look at the waves, right, this is standard profile images. It already have the contrast and the exposure really stretched, right? And log profile, when you go to that side, it's going to be sitting right in the middle. So this color correction, when I turn it on, that's what it's trying to do. It's trying to convert to a Rec 709. That's the one in the timeline, making it stretch this way in the timeline. And it's really good with the one that comes with CapCut. But I'm going to be talking more about that later on. Let me delete this image and select this. Now, next to it is LUT. And when you're a beginner and you hear about LUT, it might sound confusing. They have this thing when it comes to filmmaking, right? They call it, sorry for using this word, they will be like, don't be a LUT, right? When you're a beginner, all the time, what you do is you just drop LUT on without really understanding what it is all about. We'll be talking more in this very course. I'll explain more about it to you. So LUT basically is like a preset, just like Instagram filters, right? Basically what it's doing is LUT helps you with the exposure levels and it gives it a certain look and tone. And we have various kind of LUT. We'll be talking more about that. So when you click here, I've already installed few of them on this side. Let me show you how to install a LUT. You have to go to this side. Let me stretch this. You have to click on the adjustment on this side. Then when you click on LUT, this is where you can import your LUT. So the ones I'm going to be giving to you guys, all you have to do is just click on import, go to the folder or wherever you have it, then click on open and it's going to load right on this side. Then from there, whenever you come here, you're going to see it as a list on this side. So if you want to use it on this side too, you can see it right on this side. Let me just go back to media. So that's what LUT is about. We're going to talk more about the types of LUT and how to use it when it comes to color grading and color correction. It also has the intensity, just like all of them, to dial it down and dial it up. When you look down here, it has this protect skin tone. Most of the time, I don't really touch it. What this try to do is, let me drop in a LUT, a random LUT, and show you. You can see I'm dropping this on. It's going to change the look. It's giving us a look. This is like a creative LUT. We'll talk more about that one so you understand. So what this does is, let me turn it on and show you. It's going to try protect the skin tone, right? It's trying to let the software know that the LUT doesn't, or the preset doesn't have to touch the skin, which is going to do a terrible job. As you can see, when you turn it on, see my face, how it's looking like. It's really terrible. So it's trying to protect your face, but at the same time, it doesn't really work. So I don't use it at all. I'm going to turn it off, and I can turn the lot off too. Now let's go down here. On the adjust side, if you're coming from Photoshop, Lightroom, or photo editing, this is going to be easy for you to understand. So basically it works exactly the same as editing pictures or editing in the Photoshop, right? So temperature, it's going to give you as the temperature colors. That's the blue side. When you go here, it's going to give you the cold blue color. Then when you go here, it's going to give you the warm color, right? Just like the photo editing. And also with the tint, if you want to use it. It comes in handy if you want to do color correction, which we'll talk more on that too. Then when you go to saturation, self-explanatory. When you go here, it's going to increase the saturation. If you want to reduce it or take it down, it's going to dial it all the way down. Then when you go this side, exposure, just going to bring the exposure up, and it's going to dial it down. Contrast, just like that. If you want to increase the contrast in it, it's going to increase that. And if you want to go here, it's going to dial it down. So when you look at the difference between the contrast and exposure, right? When you go for exposure, you can see it's stretching the image compared to contrast. Contrast, try to pull it right in the middle, giving you a good contrast in the dark and also the highlight side. In highlight, the same thing. It controls the highlight part, just the highlight part. So we have the highlight and also the very white, that's really the top. So the white is really going to stretch the top, and the highlight is just going to touch just almost to the top side. The blacks and also the shadows also work the same. The shadows are just going to touch a bit towards the dark side, and then the blacks are really going to touch the downside or the dark side. Let me turn it back. And brilliance, it enhances the overall brightness, contrast, and also highlights the image while preserving details in the shadow and also the highlights part. So when you look at it, when I stretch it, it gives it this unique saturation and look. And then at the same time, it's going to preserve the highlights without clipping and also the shadows without getting dark. Now, when you go here, when you come from Photoshop and all that, you will understand sharpen. If you want to sharpen your images, sometimes I go somewhere around 5 to 10. We'll talk more about that. If you want to add clarity, I don't really use that. Particles, if you want that film grain look, it's going to add to it, but I don't use it at all. You can get more film grains later on. If you search online, you can get more good ones. Fade, if you want to fade the shadow side, it gives this unique look. When I started videography, that was the look that was going on. People were really going for this look, and also with the pictures fading, they were trying to give this cool fade in when it comes to the shadow side, but I don't really use that. And also vignette, we've been using it already in the edits. When you go here, it's going to give you the dark edges when you look around it, and then when you go towards here, it's going to give you the brights around it. But mostly I go with the dark side, and it helps the viewer's attention towards wherever it's in the image. So when you look at it, right, your eyes are going to be drawn towards me. So that's one trick that I use a lot. Let me take it back. Now let's go to HSL. This is going to give us the primary and also the secondary colors, right? So we have the red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta, and also this other color. I'm so terrible when it comes to those kind of colors, right? So this, if you want to change a hue of a certain color, it's very good to do that. Let's say if I want to select the red, I can click on that and it's going to bring it out. And if I want to change the hue, I can easily do that. So that's what it does. And also if you want to increase the saturation of that very color, it's going to help you with that. So imagine if we're having cyan or green in it, we can change the hue of it and also turn the saturation down on that very part. And when it comes to the brightness, just like that, if you want to increase, if you want it to be really bright, you can go here. If you want to darken it a bit, you can go down here. Now let's go to the curves. When you look at it, it has, let me bring this down so you can see exactly all of them. The curves, we have 4 curves on this side. This is Luma. So the Luma, that's the white, right? It's a combination of all these 3 colors. That's the red, the green, and also the blue channels that we have. Let me do this. So the white, when I move the white, it's going to move. Let me show you and look at the waves, right? It's moving the red, the green, and the blue because it's a combination of those 3 colors. Now let me turn it up. and show you. Now let me move the red and show you guys. When I move the red, you can see it's just taking out the red channel and leaving the blue and the green up there. So that's what those curves are. If you want to move, or if you want to move some certain color, you will be using the curves. I'll show you when it comes in handy or when to use it. So the blue, just like that, it's just going to move just the blue channel. The same with the shadows too. It's just going to move it just like that. So this, most of the time, you use it to dial in the contrast that you want. You know, there's this thing that when in filmmaking, it has this S-curve that it gives this unique contrast when it comes to having that look, right? So the S-curve basically is dropping one here and dropping 1 point here. So this is going to be the very dark black side, right? So the shadows, you can turn it down a bit on the shadows, and then towards the highlights, there's going to be the white, right? And the highlight is going to be sitting somewhere here. So then you can just turn the highlights a bit this way. It's going to give you this unique, when you look at the image, let me turn it off. It's going to give you this unique foam contrast look that people normally go for. That's one thing, one way of mostly using these very curves. Let me turn it off. We'll talk more about that. Now let's go to color wheels. So the color wheels, we have two of them, primary and also the log. I'll be explaining more to you guys. So the color wheels, right, is just the same as when you go to basic, we have the shadows and also the highlight and also the blacks and the darks, right? Let me go back to color wheels. That's what it says over here. This is the shadow side. So when I want to darken the shadow side, I can use the sliders on this side to do exactly that. Let me double click to reset that. And this side is going to be your saturation side. So if you want to increase the saturation on only the shadow side towards the midtones, then you can just use this dial. Let me do it and show you. It's not going to increase the saturation on overall image. It's just going to increase towards the shadows and the midtones. Let me go back. So this middle gray is going to be the midtones. When I move the sliders on this side, it's going to control basically the middle tones up and down. I'm going to show you with the log wheels to understand exactly what they all do. So the tint basically is also going to be your highlight. When I move it, it's going to control my highlight and also the white side. And also if I want to increase the saturation on that side, I can use the sliders on this side. So basically, the ones on your left are going to be saturation up and down, and the ones on this side are just going to adjust the levels. Then when you look, they have this point in the middle. We'll get there, but let me explain this side to you. So offset is going to be the overall. That's your shadows, your midtones, and also your tint, which is highlight. I don't know why they call it tint though. But yeah, that's going to be your highlight. It's going to be overall of all these ones. So let's just say if I want to move the whole image up, when you look at it, it's going to move right from the shadows to the highlights, controlling all the three that we have on this side. The same with the saturation. If I want to increase the saturation, it's going to dial in all on this side. Let me turn it back. Now I always explain this dot in the middle. Most of the time comes in handy when it comes to color correction and also when it comes to grading, having the look. So this, let's say if you want to do a quick grade to this image and I want, this is my highlight, right? And I want my highlights to be sitting towards the warm color, I can use this dot, move it towards the warm color. Look exactly what it's doing, right? It's going to be moving just the highlights, dialing in the highlights towards the warm color. Let me dial it back. At the same time, if I want the highlights towards the blue and the cyan, I can just move it towards that side and it's going to give me that look. The same with this, when I want to move the shadows towards the cyan, I can do that. And also if I want to move it towards the green and the blue, I can do that. So this basically helps you to dial in some colors, specific colors that you want to dial it in if you want to go for that look. The same applies to all of this. Remember, this was shadows, midtones, which is sitting in the middle, the highlight, and also the overall. So if you want the overall look to be towards the warm color, you can move it towards that, and it's going to move all the colors towards the warm color. And when it comes to color correction, sometimes you're going to be using this to do your color correction, and it helps a lot when it comes to color correction. I'll show you guys examples of how to do the white balance. That's correcting your white balance. Now let's go to log and explain to you. Click on that and select log. So the log color wheels, right? This is what it does. It's the same as primary wheels, right? When you look at the primary wheels, it was having the same thing. And this time around, they even name it highlight instead of the tint. Even though they are all the same, they look the same with the primary log, right? When it comes to the primary color wheels, when you move the shadows, it's gonna move from the shadows towards the midtones. It's not just gonna move only the shadows, right? Most of the time when you use the primary wheels to move, it's gonna overlap from the shadows straight to the midtones and also sometimes towards the highlight compared to the log wheels. The log wheels is just gonna control only the shadows. And I'm going to use an image to explain it more to you guys. So that comes in handy from time to time, but I don't really use the log wheels at all most of the time. But if you want to really dial, so just like this, if you want to really dial, let's just say red color only in the highlight tone without affecting the rest, then you can use that to really dial it down or dial that color in without affecting the rest. Now let me use this image to really explain to you guys what it does. Let's go to library. Let me go to yours, bring this white in, and then bring this black in. So I have this two color. Let me go to video, go to mask, add, select split, and let's just dial it this way. Now I can just fade in. I just want to have this gradient. Now I can just make a compound clip of it, Option or Alt G. Now with that selected, let's go to adjustment and explain with the wheels and also the log. Let's start with the primary log. The primary wheels, right? Let's click on that. Now I'm going to move. Remember, this is shadows and shadows are almost on this side, right? I'm going to try to move or adjust the shadows using the primary wheels. Look what it does. When you look carefully, right? It's not just moving that side, it's moving towards the midtones. And even when I go, it's going to affect the highlight too. Now let me undo that. The same with the midtones, right? When I move the midtones, you can see it's not just moving the middle, it's moving towards the shadows too. And even when I move up, it's going to move towards the highlight. And that gives this unique look or roll off when it comes to grading and color correction and all that. Now go to log wheels, right? Now see what it does with the shadows. When I move, it's going to move only the shadow side. Even when I go to the top, right? You can see the break on this side. It's not going to affect the midtones. It's just going to move only the shadow side. Now let me undo that. Let me do with the middle or the midtones. When I move, you can see it's not going to overlap towards the shadow side. It's going to just move the middle point. So that it comes in handy from time to time, but mostly during the color correction and all that, I don't use it at all because of the way it moves. It kind of breaks the images, if I should put it that way. So let me undo that. And I hope you guys understand now between the primary and also the log wheels. And then when you go to this side, this is basically mask that comes with it. So maybe, let's just say if you want to cut out just a specific place in the image and you want to have a certain, let's just say, you just want whatever changes you do to affect that very spot. That's when you will use the mask. Let me just show you. Add circle. You can see even when we add the mask, it's not cutting the image because it's just color. It's not the whole image or the video. So let's just say I want to change the color of my face or I want it to be bright, right? Then I can just use something like this. Go to the basic and then look carefully what it does. I'm just going to ruin my face and show you. When I go towards the warm or the blue, you can see it's only going to affect that side. So that's when you use the marks to control that. So maybe let's just say there's some color here or there's something here that I'm not really happy with the color. I can just use the mask to select that and dial it down or take the saturation down And that's when it comes in handy when it comes to color grading in CapCut. Now let me just undo that. That was terrible. Let's just delete the mask and let's just turn this off. Now we're going to go through my workflow when it comes to color grading. So first of all, I'll start with the base correction, and that consists of correcting the exposure, fixing the white balance, adjusting the saturation, and also lastly, matching the colors from shot to shot. That's so important when it comes to color grading. Then the second part will be me adding the creative look to it. So probably adding a bit of film contrast to it, and then adding a film lot or film creative lot to it to give it a specific look. So now you see how my process is. The base correction, especially when you match the colors, it's gonna make all your colors very consistent. And when it comes to color grading, you don't want your colors to be off. It's gonna ruin everything. So most of the time, you want them to be having almost the same look, or if possible, the same look before adding a creative lot or a look to it, so your colors will not be off. That's why color correction is so important that you need to be practicing all the time. So before we go through with examples showing you guys my process, I'm going to show you guys the types of lots that we have with this example. Let me just trim this side off and trim this side off so I can bring this image in. So now I have these two images in the timeline. One is a Rec 709 image already with the colors dialed in and exposure dialed in. And one is a log profile with everything really desaturated in the image. Now let's go to the lot and explain to you guys. So that will be all for today, guys. And part 2 will be out very soon. See you in the next one. Peace.